Hello, this is Crane Johnson with the Alaska Pacific River Forecast Center, bringing you an update to the 2019 Alaska Spring Breakup Outlook. One thing we wanted to lead off with again today is that think ice safety. We know that this year is different than previous years, and so as you and your friends and family head out, think about ice safety. We've had reports of thin ice throughout the state, and we expect those to continue. When we look at breakup throughout the state of Alaska, three main components we look at. The first is snowpack. On your left is a snowpack map for the state of Alaska, and what it shows is that in the southern and eastern portions of Alaska, we've got a generally below average snowpack, and then in southeast we've got a well below average snowpack. If we look to the northwest, one highlight is a near record snowpack in the Koyukuk River Valley, and then in areas of the North Slope and in northwest where there isn't much data, we expect above average or well above average snowpacks. If we look to the east, the headwaters of the Yukon River, we can see that the Yukon Territorial Governance map shows a below average or well below average snowpack throughout the upper headwaters of the Yukon River watershed, with one exception being the Porcupine River watershed, which has a near normal snowpack. The Porcupine River drains into the Yukon River at Fort Yukon. The next thing we look at are ice thicknesses throughout the state. This is a accumulated freezing degree day map for the state of Alaska, and we can see throughout the state the general trend has been a below average number of accumulated freezing degree days, which we would expect to correlate with thin ice. And that matches with anecdotal information, ice thickness measurements, and reports from throughout the state that indicate the ice is both thinner than normal and weaker than normal. We can see that Bethel only had 53% of their accumulated freezing degree days this year. Once again, just think ice safety. Even with the cooler temperatures, the ice has already lost its strength and we don't expect it to get any stronger. We just came out of a record warm March with areas north of the Alaska Range and north of Bristol Bay recording their warmest March on record. If we look at the first 2 weeks of April, this trend has continued with many parts, with almost everywhere in mainland Alaska recording a warmer than average first 2 weeks of April. Bethel was 11 degrees warmer than average up through April 15th. If we look into the future, the forecast from April 18th through April 23rd, we can see that we expect below average temperatures through the southwest and western parts of Alaska, and then above average temperatures through the interior to the northeast parts of Alaska. And this trend continues through the end of April with likelihood of cooler than normal temperatures throughout many parts of the state, with a return to normal or the likelihood of above normal temperatures in May. When we pull together those three components and look at the flood threat potential throughout the state of Alaska, even with the cooler temperatures now through the end of May, those warm temperatures in March and April led to the melting of snow at low elevations and also the melting of snow on top of our rivers, weakening the ice. So we think the general trend will be towards a more thermal breakup with fewer ice jams expected. Throughout the state of Alaska, we expect the flood threat is lower than normal, with the exception being the Koyukuk River Valley and the northern North Slope rivers, where we have a heavier than normal snowpack. And the flood threat there is near normal for those regions. If we look at breakup timing, it's unusual for this time of year to actually have breakup already started through the state. We've got Nenana that broke up on April 14th. That was the earliest on record. Nikolai broke up on March 31st. That's the earliest on record for that location. And Bethel broke up on April 14th, which is the earliest on record for that location. The general trend through southwest Alaska we expect to continue with a slight pause due to the cooler temperatures, but we still expect breakup to be on the order of 1 to 3 weeks early through southern and southwest parts of Alaska. And then as we look to the northeast, we expect breakup to be on the order of 5 to 10 days early. Shifted a bit towards May with the cooler temperatures, but still early on average throughout the state of Alaska. If we look at our Alaska breakup map for Thursday, April 18th, we can see that the Kuskokwim River is basically open from the mouth of the Kuskokwim all the way up through Akiak. Some open areas in the middle Kuskokwim, and then the Stony River is mostly open throughout its entire length. The Susitna Valley, the Skwentna and the Yentna River have broken up, and most of the Susitna River has broken up with ice still remaining just at the mouth of the Susitna River. The Copper River watershed is some open throughout its entire watershed. And then if we look to the Tanana River watershed, we've got some open areas and mostly open areas throughout the entire Tanana River watershed. The Yukon is basically ice covered all the way from the mouth up through Eagle. And then if we look to the northern rivers and northwest, they're all still ice covered at this time. For daily updates, you can always check back at our website, www.weather.gov/APRFC.